Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very excited to get into this. This is my first episode on this channel, but surely not the last. Before we get into what I am going to be cooking and showing you guys today, I think it's important to set the stage for what I want to get out of this channel and where I plan on taking it from here forward. A couple years ago when I was making my brother food on a Christmas vacation, he told me, man, you should turn this into a video because I do not know how to do anything. You have to walk me through this. And it got me thinking, there are a lot of people out there who would probably be pretty good at cooking if they had those first couple of skills or tools down in the kitchen. So I thought, you know, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel here and make some amazing cooking channel because I don't even consider myself that good of a cook. What I do like doing though is showing people really simple and easy things to really up their game, or at least make it look like that. Although you hear the term meat candy thrown around quite a bit when it comes to bacon, I think that this is a strong second in the competition. On this first episode, it's going to be probably one of the most staple things I do in the kitchen, and it's bacon fried chicken thighs. So we're going to be frying some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. This is the best cut for this kind of recipe, in my opinion. Chicken thighs are much fattier than chicken breasts, which I don't think fry up very well. Those do better on, say, a grill. But in terms of actually frying and getting a nice crisp skin on a crisp outside of the chicken, chicken thighs are going to be your best friend. I don't like mucking around with bones, but if you do, they work just as fine. So first things first, we're going to get these guys into this bowl, and we're going to dry them off with a paper towel because moisture is your worst enemy when it comes to any kind of frying. Okay, well, moisture is getting whipped away from those bad boys into the paper towels. Next, I'm going to whip up the quick and easy seasoning batch. I do this for far too many recipes, so I'll just show you it here, but you can use this for anything. So it's pretty simple. I like to add more seasoning just because I think when it comes to frying, you want as much of that coating on the outside so you get that nice crisp layer. So this might seem like a lot, but I think it's a good way to do it, and it works for me, and Kalina seems to like it quite a bit. So I like to do 2 tablespoons of each, keep it nice and simple in terms of the ratio. So we'll do 2 of the cumin, 2 of the granulated garlic, not garlic powder. Do not be deceived. And then 2 of the paprika. There are a bunch of kinds of paprika out there. Personally, I don't think it matters a whole lot. It's just whatever you like. I think this is like a smoky paprika, but again, it's ultimately up to you. You should cook food how you want it to taste. This is my amazingly cute mushroom jar for which I keep all my salt in. Ta-da! It's got a cool little server in here, but for the sake of the video, I will keep it consistent by using one of these guys. And we'll just do 1 tablespoon there, and then crack in some pepper. That should be good. Please do not blink. This is where champions are made. There we go. Okay, so I'm just finishing up getting this dry here. I like to just kind of pat it and turn around the chicken and just try to get it as best I can. You by no means are going to get these things perfectly dry. You will see little bits of moisture, and that is completely fine, as long as you're making the effort. This might be a little bit better of a view to do this in. I put about half the seasoning that we just mixed up on here, just right on top. And the reason I don't put it all on is because I don't want any of the excess seasoning to clump up, since there is a little bit of moisture on the surface of the chicken still. So I'll go in, I'll do it with one hand since I still need another. There's no rhyme or reason to how to do this, but just get primal in there. flake it right in there. Just kidding. It should look something like this. You want a nice even coating. Any bare spots like that, just go ahead and put a little bit of extra seasoning on. You don't have to be perfect. Cooking is not perfect. It is an art, and art is not perfect. But that looks good to me. I'm happy with that. I know that that's going to turn out really well. So, let's get frying. We would not call this bacon fried chicken if we were not using something oriented with bacon. Over here next to my stove, I keep this little handy dandy mason jar. For every time I cook bacon, I don't want to put that down the sink because you are wasting goodness. Keep it in this thing. It'll solidify. Looks like an orangish kind of color there. I'm going to turn this on to about a medium high. I have a gas stove, so whatever that looks like for you. Medium high. You don't want this thing scorching hot, but enough to kind of get the chicken's attention. So while that starts to heat up, I'm going to put about 2 to 3 dollops of this stuff. It's a shallow fry. We're not submerging the chicken, but we're letting it sit in it. So you want a healthy enough amount of oil so that it at least can build up around the sides. Now I can understand if you don't have a jar of bacon fat sitting around, because that's kind of a weird thing. This will work with any sort of oil that can handle high heat. My second best would be coconut oil. I've done it with it as well, and it turns out just as well. But I think the bacon grease is money. Okay, as you can see, the oil has started to smoke just a bit. This is prime time for chicken to get fried. It's been a few minutes, maybe 4, maybe 5, so not a whole lot of time, but just enough to get this going. Alright, let's see if I can't show you this accurately. This is the top side, this is the underside. I like to start with the top side because it's a little bit flatter, and I think it crisps up a little bit better, so we're going to start that way. And listen for that sound. That's what we want. Now so I'd see underside, top side. Just like that. You don't want to throw them down because then you'll get hot oil slapping everywhere. So you want to slowly introduce that. This can take a little bit longer only because we don't want to crowd this pan. So we're going to just put, these are smaller chicken thighs, so I'm going to put one last one over here. But that's it. You don't want to crowd the pan because it'll start getting too crowded and they'll steam instead of fry. You want them all to get nice and hot on their own. And I will let you know what they look like once they're ready to get flipped. Okay, it has been about 5 or 6 minutes. We put them on at 8:05. It is 8:09 now. These are smaller, so it's not going to take as long. Typically, for bigger thighs, I would say about 7 to 8-ish minutes. But as you can see, it's starting to crisp up just a bit around the outside, which to me means that they're ready to go. I'm going to flip these guys here, and that is what you want there. A nice dark color. They're going to look a little wet since the oil is still on there, but those are going to fry up nicely in the end. And another 5 or 6-ish minutes or so, and they are going to be ready to go. Alright, so it has been another 5 or so minutes now. I think it's probably closer to 6. You can hear the fans have been turned on because it got smoky in here. But I'm going to take these things off. I just turned the heat off. We're going to get these guys, get that off there, on a wire rack if you have it, but if not, on the cutting board works just fine. Drip. On it goes. And the last one. Now the most important thing when it comes to cooking meat is letting that rest. Do not touch it. I know how succulent and amazing and wonderful that looks. But you owe it to the chicken, you owe it to yourself, leave it alone. At least 5 minutes. 10 minutes if you have any semblance of discipline, leave that alone. It will be worth your while. I like to leave it to where I can kind of touch it and, pick it up if I had to. Not that I'm running around chicken. But that to me is a good amount of time to let me know that the moisture in the chicken has stopped moving around and vibrating like crazy because we've just heated up in this super hot oil. But once you let it cool down, that moisture then actually stays in the meat versus cutting into it and having it spill out everywhere. Oh, you can just feel the crispiness on the outside, but nice and white through and through on the inside. That's what you're looking for. You don't want any color other than white. This is not beef. Chicken, you're gonna want to cook all the way through. Bacon fried chicken. It's gluten-free, it's paleo, it's all things delicious, and it's gonna make someone think that you actually know what you're doing, because we're all just faking it till we make it.